Hello and welcome to The Curators, a podcast about game projects on Kickstarter. I'm Marcelo and I'm by myself today. Haha, I took over from Joey. Ooh, he will come back next week. He's kind of busy today, so I'm doing this solo. Okay, I'm Marcelo, and you can find all the games from this episode, as well as plenty of others, at our curated page at kickstarter.com/Gamerati. You can also find links to each of these projects in the show notes of this episode at thecurators.gamerati.com. If you're a backer of any of the projects, we'd love to hear from you. You can email us at thecurators@gamerati.com. Just tell us why you're backing a certain project, and we may feature your email on the podcast. All right, so I'm bringing two games today, a deck building game and an RPG. First of all, let's go with the card game. It's called Elder Shadows, a two-player asymmetrical strategy card game of Eldritch horror and dark secrets. It's being crowdfunded by Pawnjoker. This is, I believe, their sixth or seventh project on Kickstarter. They have previously funded Nexus, Scrapyard, Court of Kings twice. That's why it says 7 projects instead of 6. Bushido, the card game of Virtue and Dice, and Smoking Aces, a game of hybrid poker. So, Elder Shadows. Elder Shadows is a asymmetrical card game for 2 players, as I said. One of the players plays as a cultist, setting perilous traps, summoning fearful specters, and casting reality warping spells. The best kind of spells, in order to protect the secrets man was not meant to know. As the cultist, your objective is to acquire symbols, to acquire rituals, and other components to complete an important ritual of Eldritch Nightmare. But then there's the other player. The second player is an investigator trying to gather clues and valuable insights to expose the cult. As the investigator, you have to face maddening dangers and grotesque monsters, the specters that the other player throws at you, and try to stop the elder ones from awakening. Okay, what do we have in the box? It comes with a rulebook, obviously, that you can also download for free to check out the game. It comes with a sanity meter bar. I don't know how to say that. You put tokens on top of it, so you know how many stress the investigator is under. It comes with reference cards. It comes with cultist cards divided between 3 factions plus a neutral faction. It comes 7 location cards, which are the places that the investigator visits during the game. Comes 3 investigation cards between divided between 3 factions plus a neutral faction, including 7 madness cards and 1 home location. You always begin at your home location. It comes with 60mm investigator sanity and location tracker tokens. It comes with even more tokens for action tracker, for stress and will. There are tokens for discard. There are tokens for insight, and the probably the most important ones for the cultist are the wound and blood tokens. There's also a double-sided rumor token. So how do you play? You sit in front of each other, so that you have fewer chances to see what the other player has on their hands. Each player has a small area in front of them to put certain cards, plus a draw deck and a discard area for the deck. A sanity meter should be around, and also the reference cards to quickly check turn order, rules, etc. The sanity meter works for both players. The more sanity tokens there are, like the madder the investigator is, the weaker the cards of the investigator get. You check on the cards and see, depending on the level of stress of your character, the cards get weaker. At the same time, that makes the cultist's cards stronger. So the cultist always starts first. Your first action as the cultist is to gain blood tokens. Blood is what the cultists use to fuel their powers. You have to be careful though with your amount of blood, because if you at any point are without blood, you're dead and investigation wins by KO. In the center of the table there are going to be location cards that the investigator goes to. He goes there to investigate. In their turn, the cultists can put certain cards on top of a location to protect it. Those cards can be a hazard card or a specter card, basically traps and monsters. And they are stacked on the location face down, so the investigator doesn't know what awaits them. Then the cultist can pay the cost of one of the other tokens available on the table to make an offer. The aim of the cultist is to have a specific combination of offers to play to win. So you spend your resources to make those offers active on the table. Then it's the investigator's turn. They gain will, which is used to cast events or items or to have companion cards. Then they draw a card to add to their hand and look at the stress level on the investigation stress pool. Each round, you automatically lose 1 stress. Stress is gained by facing the specters or the hazard cards that the cultist left at locations. Then the investigator decides which location to investigate. You face any cards, and all cards actually, at that location that the cultist had put there. It doesn't matter if the investigation is successful, defeating those threats, or if they don't. Either way, the investigator gets a valuable information regarding the cultist's plans. The problem with the cost of acquiring such information can be too high. You can get mad, you can lose cards. There are a lot of bad stuff that can happen to you. But either way, you get your information. After those actions, the investigator is going to put a rumor token in each location they didn't visit. If they then visit a location with rumor tokens on it, they can use those rumors to their advantage. It depends on which cards they have on their hands. Since there are 3 different cultist factions, 3 different investigator factions plus a neutral faction, each game can happen very differently. Each player just needs to pick up a different investigator or cultist, and those different combinations will provide a different story for each game. It's a quick game, I believe 30 minutes, 40 minutes. It's for 2 people, average of 40 minutes each match. So it's a deck building game. Elder Shadows is a deck building game. Each identity, each investigator or cultist will belong to one of the 6 factions, as I said. You will be able to use cards in your deck that share a faction with your identity card, as well as the many neutral cards that have no penalty to use. And you must pay influence in order to use cards of a different faction on your deck. Elder Shadows uses a system called Fluid Influence. It means that you are granted by the madness cards of the investigator chooses to put on their deck. In the example they have here on the Kickstarter page, a Hunter faction deck that is using the Whispers in Shadows madness card is granted 2 influence. This 2 influence can be used for 2 copies of Occult Studies. This allows the designers to balance particularly annoying madness cards with higher influence and less detrimental madness cards with less influence. Anyhow, the influence for cultists is granted by the location cards the cultist chooses to use. In the example they're putting here on the Kickstarter page, a Great Old One faction deck that is using North Innsmouth location is granted 4 influence. Those 4 influence can be used to buy up to 2 copies of Blood Infusion. This allows the same thing. The designers decided to do that to balance location cards with lower influence and less troublesome location cards with more influence. The base game is $40. You get 1 copy of the basic version of Elder Shadows and all stretch goals. They have already estimated shipping for the US, only $3, $8 to Canada, and $15 to the rest of the world. There's also a 6 copy version of $150 for retailers, but it's that simple. You can pledge $40 for 1 copy of Elder Shadows and all lock stretch goals. And they used to have a early bird for $37 US, but it's gone now. This game still has 11 days to go. Elder Shadows Kickstarter Drive still has 11 days to go as of the date of this recording. I'm recording on the 20th of September. Yep. And they need $25,000 to get 100%. They're still kind of low. They're still a little over $2,000. But I hope that by the end of the 11 days, they've managed what they wanted. I found that it's a simple game. It seems to be I don't want to say lighthearted. I want to say it's a horror game. It's a dark game. But it's easy to play. It's quick. It's something like if you want to play, Arkham Horror, but you don't have 4 hours, maybe you should break out Elder Shadow. So I really do hope they finance. And if you're interested, take a look at the link on our show notes. Let's go now to the next project. My next project for this episode of The Curators is a new Chronicles of Darkness RPG from Onyx Path, which expands the family of horror games they have for you to choose. I chose 2 horror games today. Anyhow, this game is Deviant, the Renegades. As a deviant, you're an ordinary person that was experimented upon by some organization or some industry or some mad scientist or any number of shadowy conspiracies. It's a Chronicles of Darkness game, so of course there's a conspiracy. But you escaped. You're now a pariah. You've been terribly altered both in body and soul. Your life is over. You're a monster. They made you a monster, and now they're gonna pay. So you're an alien in your own home, but you're not alone because there are other deviants out there. It's the other player characters in the group. People who also have suffered just like you and that also hate the conspiracy that made them what they are. You have to stop them. And the conspiracy is very dangerous because their experiments had the sick aim of finding out more about the secret supernatural world that hides behind ours on Chronicles of Darkness, and they greedily want its power for themselves. So although they are humans, they are corrupt, powerful, amoral, maybe immoral. So your character was altered in a way that allows you to tap into some weird or some dark, fantastic power, and you're gonna use that to extract revenge for what they done to you. So the game presents this idea that you are a victim of experiments. You band together and bring down the monolithic organization that twisted and warped you. Taking a cue from the illustrations they already released, you can pretty much be anything. There's all kinds of mutants, people that look normal, and monstrosities. So this is a new facet of the Chronicles of Darkness, adding to the already excellent Chronicles of the Damned, the Vampires, the Werewolves, the Changelings, the Sin Eaters, the Curators, etc. In Deviant, the player characters have been warped by the actions of other humans instead of, let's say, millennia-old curse, a nature spirit, a resurrection ritual, or a combination of those. You might have been altered through arcane rituals, of course, but as much likely as you have been altered by a combination of magical procedures, graft surgeries, forbidden chemistry, or even a freak accident. You are one of the few who managed to escape. But many remade, which is technically your name, is still under the thrall of whatever organization or company that made you. And they serve the conspiracies that changed them. So you also have to face them. So, the Kickstarter. As with all other Onyx Path books, this one is already done. They need the crowdfunding to make a prestige hardcover print run of the book so that it matches the look and feel of the other Chronicles of Darkness books. It's gonna be a hardcover with art printed on a metallic underlayer with an embossed logo. The book will have at least 250 pages, but the more stretch goals they hit, the heftier the book can get. And the crowdfunding will also help Onyx Path to have at least one regular print run to make use of traditional distribution avenues, so the game can appear on hobby stores throughout. Actually, most of my Chronicles of Darkness collections, most of the books on my Chronicles of Darkness collections, I actually bought at gaming conventions, thanks to very successful Kickstarter. I think the only Kickstarter that I actually was part of was the Ian Trinity. I couldn't wait for that one. I needed to have that game. Let's see here the add-ons they have. So The base game, you can contribute for $5 to get access to the manuscript preview updates that they constantly release. For $25 you get the Renegades PDF and also access to the manuscript. For $30 you get the PDF and you have access to a print-on-demand option on DriveThruRPG at cost. If you want the game to be sent to you, you pledge $50. That means you are devoted. You get the hardcover book, the PDF, and also a at-cost print-on-demand option, and also access to the manuscripts. For $95 you get 2 hardcover books, you have 2 PDFs, and the other stuff. $125 you get a signed book plate, the hardcover book, the PDF, at cost print on demand, access to the manuscripts, and there are retail tiers here. So the add-ons. For $20 extra, you get an additional PDF copy of Deviant and Renegades. For $13 each, you can add any of these 4 Chronicles of Darkness titles to your digital library. You can get Chronicles of Darkness Core Rulebook, the Vampire the Requiem 2nd Edition, Werewolf the Forsaken 2nd Edition, or Mage the Awakening 2nd Edition. There are also some physical rewards. For $45 additional you get another hardcover, unfortunately only for US residents. If you don't live in the United States, this additional hardcover copy will cost you $65. What else? Stretch goals. They just began, so let's see how much they are. They just funded in 3 days, I believe. They needed $35,000. They have a storyteller screen released at $40. They will have a supplement, a companion PDF at $45,000. And that's it, but they will be releasing more. Onyx Path usually manages to reach a lot of stretch goals. So the cover is pretty neat. It is in line with the later projects of Onyx Path. It's very beautiful and disturbing. If you're listening to the podcast, you should check out the Kickstarter page. Link is in the show notes, as always. So in the book, the book will come with at least 7 chapters. The origins, the setting, the description of the Renegades, the storyteller system that all the books come with, a chapter for the antagonists, a chapter of sample conspiracies, a chapter that gives tips on running a storytelling game, and a bunch of appendices providing lists of equipments, conditions, tilts, and everything you need to play Deviant. So as I said, you still have 26 days to go. This Kickstarter just started. It's already successful. It's already over $40,000 with 850 backers. Oh, 851 right now, and it wasn't me. All right, those were my 2 horror-themed projects for this solo The Curators number 096. Alright, so that's it for another episode of the show. If you have any questions about the games I featured, if you'd like to consider us a game on the podcast, feel free to email us at thecurators@gamerati.com and we will answer you on the podcast. You can also reach Joey and myself on Twitter or Facebook at Gamerati. The show notes for this episode and all our episodes are at thecurators@gamerati.com. You can also find The Curators on Apple Podcasts, on Google Podcasts, Stitcher, and Spotify. Don't forget to check our curated page at kickstarter.com/Gamerati. We put new projects, interesting projects with comment there every week. Every 2-3 days there are new projects there. And we are also on YouTube at youtube.com/Gamerati. See you and Joey next week.